Playing Possum Podcast.
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 Playing Possum Podcast. Ooh, VIP times.
Sorry, listeners.
Should we stop?
It's not that deep. I just needed to ask y'all something and I would totally forget. This is the Pride episode.
Woo! Happy Pride!
On my screen, Jamie is being flanked by two waving flags.
Yes, me too.
Yes, I really like the effect that it's having on my vision. It makes me feel very like I just huffed a pixie stick in middle school.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Back in the day. Back in the day when you were just an aggressive child wrestling all your girlfriends.
Explain that to me.
My form of affection was starting fights and then getting thrown to the ground.
Sounds very erotic.
Yeah, well, you know me.
Oh my god, that reminds me. The podcast Handsome with Fortune Feimster and Mae Martin and Tig Notaro. Fortune Feimster talks about like putting lotion on her friends, like in middle school. And like, she's like, "Let me just put lotion on your skin," and she's like, "I don't know why I wanted to do that."
Now she does.
Oh my god! Not to bring it down, but I just heard that Fortune is separating from their wife.
Oh no!
I know, is that sad?
Yeah,
I was going to bring that up, but I'm thankful that you did it instead.
That's a bummer.
That was a bummer.
So, R.I.P. to that relationship. We support you, Fortune.
Yes.
Thank you for being a listener of the pod. We appreciate your support. I think I'm probably the Fortune of the group. Catherine's the Tig. Casey's the Mae.
Yes. And I just watched Mae's special, and it is so good. It was so funny.
Sap? Is that what it's called? Or
Yes.
is there a new one?
Yes, it was Sap.
I haven't watched that one.
I loved how I'm going to ruin the end real quick. They end with a joke, and then no one laughs. And they're like, "Oh, this is really awkward."
Now that's comedy.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's like our podcast.
Yeah, the joke.
No, the joke is our listeners. No, not the devoted listeners. The view count, I guess, probably.
I think that the view counts of this like still just like smashes my work podcast into the ground.
They exceed my expectations, to be honest.
I think we're a slow burn. I think we've been picking up speed, and I am proud of us for keeping going. And
at no point did I ever do this for people to watch me. You know, I just enjoy seeing y'all every week. So, they match. There's two of them,
and they're looking in the same direction.
Sounds gay. Let's talk about Pride. Well, Casey and I went to Pride on Saturday. Was that last weekend?
Yeah, it was last weekend.
Oh my god, my eye bags show it that this week has been a week. But yeah, it was really fun. We went to Salem Pride, Salem, Oregon, not Salem, Massachusetts. There was no witch stuff. I mean, there was a lot of witch stuff.
I was about to say, I'm sure
I would be into witch stuff.
Yeah. We were Casey and Anya were running to the bathroom, and I was like, I texted them, and I was like, I'm in the witch store whenever you come back out, like with all the crystals and stuff. So there was witch stuff, but it was fun. What were your takeaways, Casey, about being at Pride?
Don't wear corduroy in the sun. And
good takeaway.
I think it's gonna be fly like in a couple of years. Like I think it's going to pick up speed also because it was quite small, though it was my partner's first Pride event. So I think it was a good one to take them to, except for the fact that they almost died from the heat.
First and last.
First and last. Oh my God.
Bride killed me.
Yeah, it was like that like literal moment where I've done everything, I can die now.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. And they have bounced back, huh?
Oh yeah, they bounced back. We gave them some cold water and got them in the car, and they napped for the rest of the weekend, and now they're back to being a full-blown terror to society. Yeah,
As you do.
yeah, I say that lovingly,
Yeah.
but they are a total terror.
Catherine, what was your takeaway?
Well, it was really lovely to meet Anya. And especially like right before she almost died, you know, like I was glad to meet her. Yeah, it was scary. And I will say I felt slightly responsible because I have a very high heat tolerance being from Georgia. And then I will say like Jamie and I grew up on the same street, and we, I think, tolerate heat differently, even us. Jamie is not a fan of the heat.
Not a fan of it at all.
And I just like, I will like this, like when we moved here, like I would just sit in the hot car in the summer to like heat my body up because I hated not being as hot. Like, cause like, and I don't know if you remember this, Jamie, but when we were living on Pine Forest, like I would run at like noon and the neighbors would like run out and be like, "You're gonna die, little girl."
Oh my God.
You're like, I'm body charging, I'm heat charging.
Body charging.
Back to your homes, back to your smokehouse.
Yeah, so I felt slightly responsible but I do want credit because I directed y'all to the shade a few times. But I think maybe I should have been more, because we stood in the sun like that last little bit. I think that was the nail in the almost coffin.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's also, you know, first of all, I just want to say sitting in a hot car for fun is like full-blown lizard vibes. And second of all, I think just, you know, it's the climatization again, because she's, you know, like my little Canadian princess, so like just can't take the heat.
Who lives in Portland? I mean, God forbid the sunshine, right?
Somebody was unable to come to my class on Monday because they got so sunburned.
Oh God.
That is like such an Oregon thing. Like the minute the sun comes out, like, yeah.
Well, never mind my luster, but somebody's been doing lap swimmings in the morning sun.
Oh,
look at that
glow.
glow.
Rosé. You
I
look
know.
rosé in the
He
cheeks.
hasn't spent months in the mountains. He's a deep south person. I mean, I think I'm noticing it for real. And it's because I'm getting all this great westward light coming in.
Yeah,
it looks nice.
I look like a ghost. I'm noticing. So
Fiona.
Y'all. What was my takeaway from Pride? Just every time I go to Pride, I just love, like, I just feel, we have to tell the story about, so one takeaway was do not say, I wish there were protesters here. Because Casey was like, I mean, this Pride is kind of lame. Like, there's not even any protesters here.
Yeah,
and then literally like 10 minutes later, the like God hates the F word.
They were there to love you to death.
Yes, they showed up. So Casey Beetlejuiced some protesters right into the corner. And so they had their gory pictures of abortion, which was kind of an interesting choice. And then, what was the other thing they were really against?
It was something like 1816 or 1618, something. I don't know about Pride being like, yeah, I don't know the Bible, so it's like hard to quite remember which book it was.
You're not doing Pride right if they're not out there protesting.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's how Casey felt. And so the protesters showed up from Beetlejuice's underworld.
And it gives them purpose in life.
She summoned them.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like protesters, like I just backing up what Jamie said, like I feel like it's not Pride without the protesters, because I like look back to when I was in Seattle and like Mama Tits was walking downtown in the parade and then like comes face to face with like the, like if you know Seattle Pride, like there's like one guy that is just always there.
Megaphone,
like,
large sign.
yeah,
Yeah,
Outfit.
got it.
with the Britney Spears
Nailed it.
mic.
With Britney's mic? Oh, they've
Yeah,
Oh, like the
they've developed over the years.
yeah, that guy. And
I'm
so I
showing
don't
my
know. I was
age
just
saying
like,
things like
really, like no
megaphone.
one's showing up,
That's fine.
but they were just late.
Mhm.
Interesting event to talk about abortion, but okay.
That's what I said. But
Really, the group that's doing the most harm? I don't. Let's not.
I felt like maybe your church is where you should talk about abortion, where you're not giving your youth any sex education. But, you know, don't ask me how to protest. Yeah, but it was, yeah, it was interesting. So they showed up and, but yeah, and then, but it was like they were kind of in the corner. They weren't really harsh in our vibes. And I just love seeing people come out and like all their, like, yeah, there was a lot of people dressed up, and it just like seeing a city support that is always like so nice, and like closing down the streets for it, and like, you know. But I will say, and I thought, Casey, this was a good thing, or what you said is like, or maybe I can't remember if it was you or somebody else, but like that it feels like a little hectic that you have to get all your gay stuff done in June because it's like Pride Month.
Yeah, I have to stop everything I'm doing to go celebrate when you tell me to celebrate. That's what I don't like about Christmas and Thanksgiving. Like, well, Thanksgiving for different reasons, but like, or I guess any holiday. Like, don't tell me when to celebrate. I'll let you know when I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I do love going to Pride, and like I think feeling I don't know, it was fun. And like Casey and I were talking about like what it would be like to do a Pride event for playing Possums and just be out there. And we met some zine people.
Yeah, Cherry City Zine Collective. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and they were super cool, and they just like had all these zines out, and so we gave them some Playing Possum zines that Casey made, and so yeah, it was just nice to, and there were a lot of artists, and yeah, it was lovely. So
Well,
Yeah.
fun. I'm glad y'all got to do that.
You know, I think would be like awesome to see at one of those events. That would be like those people that do the live like event paintings, like just set up in a booth. Like I think that'd be so sick. Yeah. But I feel like I wanted to look at, and I've been talking about like how to table for like a potential like Playing Possums thing, and I just think like doing an art project and like inviting everyone in would be like super dope. Yeah.
Could you do caricatures? Could you do like a 10-minute, mock up of, strangers that sit for a quick portrait?
I don't know if I have that skill set yet, but that would be fun. I love those where they make them look the subjects look
Exaggerate their
insane.
features and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's how they always come out looking, right?
oh my god, do you remember that yeah, I am feeling like, how do I get rid of my wrinkles right now?
Lean back.
Yep.
Fall to the side.
Yeah, well, so I oh, my sound's probably gonna be bad this whole time. My mic's been really far away. Whoopsies. It seems okay. I'm just yelling. I think the volume of my voice might be loud. Like, you know how people like loud talk and they don't know it? Am I a loud talker?
No, I don't. I mean, I feel like I can hear you clearly on the pod.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another side note, back to the takeaways. I think one of the most memorable things for me at Salem Pride this year was when the protesters did get there, there was this blue-haired person really working the pole across the street, just like so amped up and going to town on this traffic sign pole to like egg them on. And I was like, now this is what I come for.
Yeah.
That's pride.
Yeah, that's
friction.
pride if I've ever seen it.
The friction.
The friction. Yeah, that pole was hot.
Hard on hot.
Oh my God. Yes. Well, I wanted to talk about, I am like really struggling with playing Possum. And I was curious if how y'all are doing, but like I have all these projects in the works and I just like closed the door to my shop and I haven't been back in like a few weeks. And I've realized I have this like really avoidant behavior pattern, which I don't know. Someone can probably tell me about what that is with therapy, but I'm in therapy, by the way. But I just got back in the office. So this is my joint office with my wife, and I hadn't been in here since April when she got called back to work in the office. So she's a federal employee. It's a wonderful job to have right now. And she had remote work status, which was actually protected by her union, but that was overridden and she has to go into work 5 days a week. And we used to get to work together and see each other a lot more. And so that changed in April. And then I was just like, I just closed the door to the office and then just didn't go back in. But there was like all this stuff in here. There's a whole laundry basket of stuff that I haven't dealt with, including like uncashed checks and just items that like, I know, it's really bad.
Wow.
That's like
like
a real low-key flex
What is
right
that?
there. Yeah,
no, it's not like that. I
mean,
mean, it was like like checks that you get that are like reimbursement checks that are like $20, and not that but yes, sorry, it's a flex in that I do not know how to deal with money, and I have a problem with that. But money is like hard for me. So like when I get paid, I'm like, I don't know, do I deserve this money? I don't know. So that's why it's uncashed. But so yeah, and just unopened mail. And so I finally made it in here. But then what happened was I made it in the office and then I haven't been able to make it. Then I just kind of closed the door to the shop. I can't go in there. So there's like projects like mid sanding, like dust, just like it's, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing I'm kind of trying to work through right now of like how to shift out of that, like all or nothing of like either I can go in this space or it just needs to be closed and I can't interact with it at all. So any advice?
I've been trying to adopt the rip the Band-Aid off mentality with my own stuff. And I've been in a really good place productively. So that doesn't always win. It's like jumping in the pool, it's going to be cold. It's total shock to your system and all. But it's only the first. I read something that actually made a lot of sense. It's like, but it was about working out and stuff like that. It's like the hardest part about working out is starting, and the hardest thing about eating is stopping. And that's how I felt about my work. If I could just like get the brush in my hand and get moving, that's the hardest part. Then I'm, then I'm moving. So it's just crossing the threshold. Maybe.
Yeah. Totally. No, I love that. I just want to like heart that comment right there. Because it's
I don't want to acknowledge the fitness bros that give me inspiration.
Oh yeah. The other half of my feeds on social media that aren't people eating burritos are like gym bros like working out. It is my life. No, I agree. Like just crossing the threshold and like getting started on something. I'm notorious for having a bunch of projects working at once. Like for example, I went to Cat Session at Highland earlier this week, and I worked on 4 different things in one night. But it was just like
verified.
Yeah. But it was just like getting like little bits of stuff going, and then eventually all those like little bits have just add up for me to create something. And also I think Like I just being in an art class for the last 11 weeks that I just finished up my final. So yay, thank you. That was awesome. Oh, Cat showed up. That was awesome. Having deadlines and like I think that being in class where people are like on Wednesday you have to show everyone what you did and then that's okay, I have to do something. But still I think it just comes back to what Jamie said, like you just have to just step over the threshold and pick up the pen or pick up the the saw or whatever and just like get going on something, even if it's a little bit, because I find once you get like the first couple lines in, you're off to the races.
I'm also trying to give myself like one thing that I really want this accomplished by the end of the week, and then I have to remind myself why. It's like, because if I get this done, then X, Y, Z, right? I can move on to the next step and stuff like that. And some of my biggest holdups have been, or just for me progressing, have been just not getting enough done. I spend too much time worrying. It's not the quality of my work; it's the quantity. And the more I get done, the more well-rounded I feel. And so I feel like I'm putting my best self out there, the more stuff that I get done. And I guess the mental hang up there was like, oh, what if it's not good? What if it's not what I hope it to be when I started or whatever? But fuck it. Get it done. It sucked. Start another one. So, I know this is not earth-shattering advice, but I find that I have to live in it. You have to live in it and make it so for yourself. It's like the fitness bros. They can tell you all day long, but until you embrace that good advice and put it to work in your own self, in your own life.
Yeah. Jamie, do you ever go back and work on those ones that you're like, you're not super stoked on it, but you like move along to something else just to, work on in that volume? But do you ever go back and like do touch-ups?
Something I started in 2019 that I'm determined to finish. Oh, you only get a little sliver. I don't know if the chords will allow. Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
That's involved in my paintings, and when they're large and overdue, this is a macro perspective of a magnolia, and so they're just starting to see some of the green.
Nice.
And so first it had to be traced, then it had to be charcoaled, then it had to be washed, then it had to be gessoed, then it had to be painted. So I'm finally getting to the painting part of this painting, and I'm determined for it to be done this summer. Maybe not in June, very likely not in June. But yeah.
All gay stuff has to be done in June.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thankfully this one's not
June.
particularly gay.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, so it'd be inappropriate to finish it this month anyway. But,
Yeah.
So it might be August. I don't. We'll see. But yes, I do. I mean, there's so many steps involved in getting, especially these larger projects. Like the inner art student in me wants to make really big paintings, and I've also learned that smaller is not lesser; it's faster. And I feel like the more pieces I get done, the more images I add to my oeuvre, which helps better define who I am and what it is that I'm doing. So, but yeah, these pieces take a long time, and it is what it is. And I've started doing 30-minute increments and keeping just a little tally list as I go along. Like I put 30 minutes in here and 30 minutes in here, because I actually would like to know how long it takes to really complete one of these larger pieces.
Cool. Have you like finished the tally on one of your larger pieces yet? Like how long do you think it takes?
No, no, I haven't. There's a piece that is of the same size that Catherine has that was about as involved as this piece, and it very easily took a couple hundred hours for sure.
Sweet.
And that one I did actually kind of get done within about 3 months. So
3 months. Cool.
Mama's Delphware, for those of y'all keeping up with me at jamiehudnall.com.
I would love to pick your brain about painting sometime, because I've been sitting on this giant canvas. It's not giant, but it's like a 20 by 20, and I'm like trying to make something cool over summer before I start
Art school.
Huh?
Art school.
Yeah, before that. And but I'm not much of a painter, but I have all the painting things because I'm irresponsible with my money. So I just don't know where to get started.
Well, Well, then,
May I recommend not cashing checks as a way to
pile them up and then throw them in the air and roll in them.
oh my god.
I say go for it. Who cares what the finished product is? Like, it's taking me, I'm in my 40s and it's taken me this long to get there. Like, who cares what it looks like at the end? Just get it done and start another one.
Word. Yeah. We'll
Which
keep
is
you
what they
updated.
tell you in art school and is what you should be doing as an art student. Oh shit, and you're about to be an art student. So you need to just make more shit than you're ever going to finish. Because the
That
more
has
that
been
you've done, the better you're going to be at the end of it. So
I mean, that was already my experiences last term. I took a figure drawing class, and I took on 2 big projects towards the end, and neither of them were finished. Like, I was sending you updates of this kind of, I don't know if it was necessarily like a landscape. I guess it was like a landscape meets a still life, and I had to show it off, which I was super stoked on, like how it turned out, but it just wasn't done. And then also like a giant portrait. I mean, I think graphite is also a really hard medium to like work fast in, but neither of them were done. But
what medium was it?
just graphite on paper.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious if y'all have felt in any way as though you should or felt obligated, or do you incorporate your queerness into your art in any particular way? Do you feel a responsibility to do it? Do you feel like there's a queer quality to what it is that you do? Something that'd be obvious to people who wouldn't, necessarily pick up on that? I don't know.
I don't know if it's like my first I know, like subject matter, I don't think my subject matter, like I would say it's not queer centered at all. And I think I try to do like visibility, just like, when I'm talking on here, I'm not like, I don't hide who I am. I don't think that that's it's necessarily part of my subject matter that I work in currently. What about you, Kat?
I think a while ago I would have said no, but I think I had this conversation with a friend yesterday, actually, and there's sort of a whole conversation between like art and craft. And interestingly, your art teacher, Casey, Ann McGrattan, shout out.
Shout out, Ann.
I just met Casey's art teacher when I got to see Casey's not finished projects, and it was very fun. But what was I talking about?
Queerness and art.
You just had.
So I think now I would say yes. And one, because I really like rainbows, and so like I've actually been like making rainbows and stuff. 2, I think my work has always been queer, and I think like I was having this conversation with a friend where she was like, well, I don't think I own any of the things I make because like everything is iterative. And like she particularly teaches like making, kind of traditional craft objects. And, but even what she teaches, I would disagree, is not hers, because she has all these different skill sets that maybe somebody else who might teach the same thing would teach it differently. And so I think whatever you make is so uniquely yours based on your life experience. And so I think, one, I've always been queer, like, even though I didn't come out till later in life.
I was going to say, except when we were dating.
Oh my God. Jamie and I used to make out in the bushes. And by make out, like
we went
just,
out in 8th grade. We were going out in 8th grade.
So yes.
R.I.P. to our physical relationship.
And by physical relationship, we would. Can I share this or no?
Yeah. It's
okay.
fine.
So I don't know how old we were, but we would. Sorry, Mom. We would go into the bushes at our neighbor Tommy's house, and we would like practice kissing, and it was literally just like, you know, very young kids like just touching lips. But we would practice, we would switch on who was like the top.
Pretty princess over here was like, all right, it's your turn to take.
And I was like, all right. We were both like, okay, let's stop doing that.
This is a little too hot, too heavy, too fast.
Yeah. We need to break it, like bring it back. We went
to every dance together as possible.
Yes. We went to proms, we went to homecomings, and we went to different schools starting in 10th grade. So we got to go to a lot of like
Yeah. Professional beards.
Yeah. But the nice thing was, because we went to different schools, I could wear the same dress to different dances.
No dress for me.
I wish I was wearing a tux though. But again, I was talking about queerness in my work. So yeah, I think being myself brings queerness, but I also think like I bring a lot of like non-traditional views to woodworking, which I don't even know. Like, I kind of hate the word like traditional. I think it's like who's had access and who has had money to buy tools to do woodworking. Because I talk to so many women and queer people that like all they want to do is woodworking, but they've just never had access. And so I just think about how much, and this is common, like of so much. I also think a lot about how many people are in prison and that we don't get to see their art, their work, like whatever it is. Like there's all of these people who just get pulled out of whatever creative medium they would want to do that we never see. And so it's like what we're seeing is such a limited view of what's out there. And so I don't know. And then when I start doing like deep dives of woodworking, like my friend and I went to this estate sale, and like I found this book of like furniture from like the 70s, and it was like this weird furniture that I was like, why didn't anyone show this to me in furniture school? You know, like I would have been so much more excited than like, this is a reproduction of like bleh. So I think like, you know, it's very important to like be visible, like you were saying, Casey, of like art, of work that's like, you know, just slightly different, slightly queer, slightly whatever, of like, you know, and it's not that it's outside the norm, it's just that it's your view. So yeah.
The reason that I ask is because in undergrad at the Atlanta College of Art, shout out to the Atlanta College of Art, RIP.
RIP, SCAD ate it.
They ate it, and then they hid my transcripts in the basement. But all that to say that right towards the end, I think in my last year, I had a professor that pulled me aside after class and was like, "You're gay, right? So why aren't you painting about that?" And being like, first of all, I thought we were going to make out. Second, what do you mean? Why am I not painting about it? Like, and it stayed with me. It stayed with me through graduate school, and there were periods of time where I really felt like I was doing a disservice, not just to myself, but like in terms of visibility, that I was not in some way including that aspect of myself in my work, and somehow like paying it forward. And so I have made some cringy gay art. Big time, in an effort to kind of like try to fulfill or check that off the list, be like, okay, this is good, is it gay, you know, blah, 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 and all of that stuff. And so it's taken me a long time to work out of that, because that never left me for some reason. And I was thinking this morning as I was swimming and we were going to do this Pride episode, like, how is there any of my queerness that shows up in my work now? And yeah, I think it's obvious in my image selection and stuff. Like, who else is painting their great granny's crystal punch bowl, you know? Probably a gay man. But also I feel like now, not so much in my painting and what it is that I do, but it does show up in my storytelling and my writing. And I'm proud of the way that it manifests now. And I don't feel like I'm doing a disservice to my community by not making rainbow paintings anymore, or ex-boyfriend paintings, or, you know, penises I have known paintings.
Totally. I love that you got pulled down to the basement to be like, why aren't you painting gay stuff? Because when I was in design school, I had a teacher pull me aside and be like, could you please stop drawing dick-shaped things? He's like, you're creeping me out. Anyway,
that professor needs to retire.
it was mushrooms and rockets. Like, what do you want from me?
It was burritos.
Anyway,
yeah, I just wondered that about y'all. So, well, kudos to everyone for however it does show up, whether it does or not. But I think that, like what Casey said, is like the truer you are to yourself, then the more authentic your work is, and you know, even if it appears coded, you know, and it is what it is. I don't think it has to be overt. I don't think anybody has a responsibility to do shit with their own art except for make their own art. So, anyway, thanks for fucking with my head, Professor.
Oh my God. You're gay, right? Do you want to make gay art?
Punked.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I could see how you thought that you were going to make out. So that's
the new hunky young art professor, the punky new adjunct, just wanted to call me out.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It also makes me think
he has wrinkles now. I hope he has to look back to see.
He has wrinkles now. It makes me think of, though, like, what is gay art? Because does it have to be an overt messaging? You know what I mean? I feel like if everything has to have a rainbow, or it has to have, like, you know, some sort of like romantic queer overtones or something that's like feels like really on the nose to me. I mean, I think it also takes away the depth that queer people are also humans with like a multitude of experiences that aren't necessarily just about, you know, who we have romantic relationships with.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is even gay art? I think is
I so agree with this. I always say, like, you know, yes, I am queer, but like I'm not like in my kitchen like queer cooking or like queer doing laundry or like right, like our lives are very similar to like other people who are not queer. It's just like, so I totally agree with you. I think when I do feel like my art is queer, or when I feel more queer, is like, I don't know, like sometimes this is probably going to get me in trouble, but I like, I don't know, like when I spend time with straight people, like they live in such a gendered experience of like, you know, like they're like the men are like, let's go stand over here, and the women are like, let's have a girls' night, and like I think we look through the world in like a different lens that isn't as gendered or like as structured or as patriarchal or things like that, where it's like you know, like I had a person when I did that art show, like I was selling woodworking, and then the guy who I was working with was selling sewing stuff. And I didn't think about it, but like this woman came up and was like, did you put like a femme name for woodworking and a masc name for sewing to like question gender norms? And it's like, yes, we have been working on our careers for 15 years. So then we could be next to each other to like create a gender question for you. Like, no, I didn't even think about it.
This afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, like stuff like that where it's just like, I don't know, like, you know, and I've been working on my my queer worms, Harriet, Janet, and Sheila, which I don't even know if I've introduced them to the world, but anyways, like a friend of mine was like, well, how are people going to know that the worms are queer? And I was like, I don't know. Like, why do you like? I don't. They just are queer. Like, it's Harriet, Janet, and Sheila, and they're queer worms. Like, I don't need to like paint them in a rainbow. Like, they're just queer worms going about their lives. You know, like I don't know. And yeah, and I think there is that like desire. Like, I think like what your professor said is like, why aren't you doing gay stuff? But then it's also like, I feel like I've gotten so much feedback that's like, I'm like clearly getting worked up about this, where people are like, I've had feedback where somebody's like, I really like you because you're not like in my face gay about it. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's like, they're like, not too much, but enough, and make it palatable and make us, like it. But then even people in the queer community are like, well, you're letting us down because you're not gay enough. And it's like all of that layeredness of like, versus just like being yourself, right? And like making the art you want to make and representing yourself as who you are is going to be more authentic than like trying to like, what you were saying, Jamie, of like the cringy stuff that you made that didn't feel authentic or whatever. And now I'm wondering, have I done that? Am I doing that? Yeah.
No, I think that Harriet and Janet are authentically you. I think that I can see you in second grade, like making Harriet and Janet cartoons. So, I mean, I think it's totally authentic and totally, innate for you to have two worms on an adventure together. Like, absolutely. Yeah, bury that. Oh, straight people, am I right? Just kidding. We're accepting of straight people.
Yeah. Well,
and support you and your offspring. And we are very excited for the first straight Pride, whenever it happens. I did see there was like a straight Pride flag, and predictably, it was very sad.
Oh, so boring. It's like,
no,
it was just one color. I mean, two colors.
It was a sad line drawing.
Do you think there'll be protesters at that Pride?
Me.
Just you. And with the abortion sign, of course.
No, it'll be with pictures of loafers.
No loafers.
Stop wearing these.
With no pennies.
Yeah.
Retire your boat shoes.
Oh my god. Okay, I have a new game that I'm going to introduce that I have no idea how we're going to play. But it's called Possum or Dare. And you can choose to either play possum or take a dare, or should it be possum or truth or possum?
I think truth or possum, since
yeah, that makes more sense. Truth or possum. So you can choose to truth or just play possum, and you can choose it after you find out what the question is.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see, I need to come up with a question. This would be like a podcast, like somebody would already have this planned, but this is how an ADHD brain works. So you're seeing it in real time. Okay. So Jamie, I have to ask you the question. Okay, so I recently, and I actually lost her number, I'm just remembering, but I met the aunt of a subject of one of your paintings in high school. Would you tell us about this painting, Truth or Possum?
Oh, truth. She is referring to a painting I did, a very large one. And we're talking like 6x4. It's huge. I still have it. It's in the cabinet in storage. Of a friend of mine. and it was from a summer program, the Governor's Honors Summer Program in Valdosta, Georgia, that you had to work your tail off to get into, which is where I met former Playing Possums podcast guest Tori Tinsley. Actually, I'd met her before, but that's where we became art pal. No, I think we'd been Anyway, Tori was there. Yes, the painting still exists, and it was of a friend. Talk about gay art. Yeah, I guess that's the backstory.
Hot goss.
Yes, indeed. Yes, a very good friend who I've not really done a good job keeping in touch with. His mom, more or less, probably through social media, but yeah, very kindly commissioned a piece for his mom's birthday a few years ago. So yeah. Hello, and yes, should you like your 6x4 foot painting, you're welcome to it. It's not on display, but I still have it. How do you solve a problem like Maria? Where does the painting go? You know, I have several really large paintings that I don't know. I have decided that I'm going to salvage the frames and donate them to the little art department up there at the local college near the cabin. Like, there's no reason to hold on to this stuff anymore. I'm never going to display it. I'm never going to exhibit it. I will keep the paintings because they're either going to go in a hole or they're going to be burned and then release their toxins into the earth or to the water. So I will keep them, and I will donate the beautiful cedar frames to art students.
That's lovely. Giving it new life.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Yeah, I just think, I think about that painting and just how, because you did that in high school, right?
I did it in high school, and I was so in lust, and I was working from a photograph, as I still do now, and yeah, and it was enormous because at the beginning of the program there were ample materials, and by the time we get to the end of the summer program, I'm painting on like 8x11 canvases because it's all that's left. So my other friends were like, why is my painting so small and his painting like, well, you know,
I don't know. It's like how I have. Do you remember my closet door? I was telling friends about this recently, and they were like, "Your closet door," and I had that, like, you know how like it was cool to have like hot guys like in a collage. This was in the 90s, and we used magazines. Which magazines are these things where there's pictures in them of celebrities?
Yeah, because didn't I get like 17 magazine collection? Because you were like, I'm never going to read.
Yeah, I was like, I don't read
17s, and I was like, oh my god, am I a fall or a winter? You know?
Yeah, so I took all the pictures out and I posted all the obligatory hot guys on my closet door. But then in the very middle, Jamie, do you remember who was in the middle of this?
Oh my god, was it Rosie O'Donnell or Ellen?
Yes, Rosie O'Donnell. So I feel like collage might have been my first art form, like creative art form. I had did like a lot of magazine collages like back in the day.
We both love doing that. Absolutely. Yeah. Express yourself.
Express yourself.
Get it out. Glue it down. Tape it up.
Yeah. Oh my god. Let it out, glue it down. Yes. Okay, Casey. What was it like to have me come to your art show and see your work live in front of you? Truth or Possum?
I'll truth. It was a combination of emotions. At first, I turned around and knew that you were in the room. I was like, oh, thank God. Because now I have someone to talk to. Because I was being very antisocial and refusing to look at anyone in the face. And then when we started looking at them, I was very uncomfortable because I was like, this is so much easier when I can just take a picture of it. And I realized also in that time that I had been talking a big game earlier, which I don't know if it was something we talked about on the podcast or in person, but I was like, you know, I have no problem showing off my work. Show it. And then it was like, I have to be there with it. And I'm like, oh, get me out of here. So, yeah, I was stoked that you came and also terrified that you had to see it in person.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought you did very well, but yeah, I could,
Thanks.
that is definitely how I would feel. So, Okay, someone has to truth or possum me now.
No, I'm trying to think of a juicy one. Okay.
I came unprepared.
Truth or possum? Picture it. Your winter formal at Rhodes, freshman year. You have invited me. I have driven from Charleston to Myrtle Beach and boarded a small airplane and flown all the way to Memphis to be your date. After the event, did you or did you not know what I was going to tell you as we were crossing Mississippi into Arkansas? Truth or possum?
I'll truth this one. So Jamie came out to me at my winter formal at Rhodes College, 1999. And we had gone to this dance, and I was not sober, and I was like not doing well. And Jamie was like, "We need to go for a drive," and I was like, "Why? Let's go to bed." And he was like, "We really need to go for a drive." So we drove. We ended up in Arkansas, and I think that was by accident. But we drove over the Mississippi, and Jamie was like, "Do you remember when I went rafting and I hit my leg and I have this bump on my leg and I've had it forever?" And I was like, "I guess." And he was like, "It's cancer." And I was like, "Oh, that seems like not how cancer works." And because, by the way, I was majoring in biology, so that was not a good story to try to tell me. But like within the second, he was like, "Just kidding, I'm gay." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, can we go home now?" And I don't know. That's how I remember. I don't know if that's how you remember it, but I was prepared, I think, for that information.
You are. We've actually never had this conversation, so yeah.
Oh, it's live. Yeah, I was prepared.
I mean, granted, the Bacardi Limon, but you didn't see that coming.
I saw it coming. I did see it coming. Yeah.
For any weak gays out there that are friends of the pod or listening to the pod, that is Blueprint coming out from Steel Magnolias. Tell them you're having cancer and then say, "Just kidding." Okay. It works every time. And it softens the blow.
It does. It did soften the blow. Although I would pick biologically a more likely way to get cancer.
I was not majoring in biology. My raft injury seemed like, I don't know. I was grasping at straws, but the information.
I know. Well, that raft injury was traumatic for you, so I could see.
Please don't ever fall out in a class 4.
Oof, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's a pass. I haven't been back in a river since then. So,
yeah.
For others.
Okay, well, that's our new game called Truth or Possum. If you have a question for us, we can ask it to ourselves. I feel like we're at time. So I just want to say, toodles, possum.
Doodles.
Thanks for listening. As always, follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky. Subscribe to our newsletter, which you can go to our website and subscribe, which is playingpossumcollective.com. Yeah.
And watch us on YouTube.
Yeah. You should watch this one because we all look amazing.
Yes. Well, all right then. Bye.
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 Happy Pride.